Real quick, I want to do a fair use.
Look at you like I'm gonna look at you like I got color contacts in. But when I say this, I want you to hear me. ICE just got $170 billion from this bill. And that's kind of crazy because you know what they got before? That's more than Russia spends on their whole military. That's more than Japan, Poland, Sweden, even Germany combined. Oh my fucking God.
About Jabari and marijuana. But he pulled him out of the car, put him up against the car, and that's when things started getting real funny and murky. At some point, we know there was a tussle. The girlfriend takes off running, and one shot was fired, all right? And so we don't know what happened, but we know a couple things. According to the girlfriend, she had never seen Jabari with a gun. He was never armed. And afterwards, when the officer set her beside his bleeding body, did not see a gun at all. The next thing we know from looking at the body, having our investigators taking hundreds of photos, our own investigation, we know that there was one shot, and that was Jabari being shot in the back in the left lower quadrant. That was the only shot, no exit wound whatsoever. And then the third thing is that we know that there are surveillance cameras and body cam footage on the actual officer. Those are the items that are going missing. So what we have right now is witnesses saying he was unarmed, he was shot in the back, he's dead, he should be alive today. And then the third missing part of it is the actual video of what happened. And that's what the law enforcement's refusing to release at this point. And it doesn't make sense unless they're trying to cover something up.
Did you guys know there's been 5 recent lynchings of black and brown men since Trump's been elected? Yeah, me neither. Because the news isn't fucking reporting on it. And you gotta ask, why is that? I had to dig and search for these news articles that I'm linking on the screen. Also, what limited media coverage there is trying to insinuate that these are suicides. However, the families disagree. I think the media doesn't want the correlation between Trump being elected and emboldening racists and all these lynchings because they go hand in hand.
Yeah. Brakatah Yahweh. Brakatah Yahweh Shai. I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rakahakwadash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the elder apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the 4 winds preaching in truth and sincerity, risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners whose phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, you Akhwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence. This your brother Ram Yahawada with the lesson. And as you can see through the intro, the couple videos I put on there, it's showing you as we're going into this. It says Ezekiel 35:5, because thus has had a perpetual hatred. And speaking of the hatred, and that perpetual hatred at that, of the self-proclaimed so-called white man, Esau, Edom, your friendly neighborhood Edomite, right? They do not like you. And really, they're not friendly, right? Right? And you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are the Israelites, man. And it's a spiritual reason why they hate you, man. It's not just, they don't know. It goes so far back that they don't know why they hate you, but it's spiritual. So through the scriptures, we'll have to let you know. This is why they hate you, and has shed the blood of the children of Israel, right? Yasha. Oh, that's what you so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians are. You are the children of Israel. Whether you like it, accept it, believe it or not, you are the Israelites. And they're going to come against you. You know, you ones who talk about you Black Hebrew Israelites, stop talking, stop teaching. Well, that's not going to stop the Edomites from hating you. That ain't going to stop prophecy, right? Matter of fact, when we stop talking, that's going to speed up prophecy. That's going to go into the famine of the word. So obviously, if it was your best interest, you will want us to keep talking, right? As soon as the famine of the word comes in, hey, that's pretty much it, man. Gloves is going to be off, and that's it, right? It says by the force of the sword, right? Back in what is it? Well, back when they were the Greeks, right? They did heavily, right? You know, when you go into what is it? Uh, the Maccabees, first Maccabees. Once Alexander died, it says a wicked root sprung up, man, and that's when evils multiplied on the earth, man. And they really put hell on you. But guess what? Those same people are back. Those same people are on the earth this time with technology, with laser weapons and drones and mechanical instruments of death, with surveillance that they call the gospel, right? You know? So how much more now are they doing it by the force of the sword, right? In the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end, and there's no time like now where our iniquity is at its end. Why? Because the prophets are went out, man. Our teachers have not been removed in a corner anymore. Surely the words have went into the ends of the world, man. Right? This have gotten to the gates of the nobles, man. This is why they're ready to come down upon you. This has reached into the gates of the noble. Right? It says, therefore, as I live, right? The Most High is the God of the living and not the dead. He lives. He's real. He's not an idol that can't speak or think or breathe or make things happen. Right? He's not Cesare Borgia, who don't exist. He's not Serapis Christus, which that's where you get Cesare Borgia, right? The ideal, the image of that, right? The thing to call yourself Christ, right? Comes from Serapis, right? Which is an idol, right? And the Lord is not an idol; he's the Lord that liveth. Therefore, as I live, saith the outer one, power the Most High, Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai B'Hashem Rechak Wadash, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, saith, since thus has not hated blood, right? And that's to the self-proclaimed so-called white man. Since he not hated blood, the Lord is going to allow, death is going to chase him, right? Yeah, blood shall pursue thee. Yeah, since thus has not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee, right? Yeah, con, right? Says, thus will I make Mount Seir most desolate, and cut off from him that passeth out, and him that returneth, right? Because since they haven't hated blood, hey, blood is going to pursue them. Yeah. So yeah, it's what blood shall pursue thee, right? So this is Isaiah chapter 14, verse 9. Hell, right, which is the grave, from beneath is moved for thee, right? Right, to come after you, to meet thee at thy coming, right? So if you're gonna, since you have not hated blood, blood shall even pursue thee, right? And that's going into, and you bleed out, you die, right? And hell is the grave. It's not a burning place under the ground. It's just the grave, right? And hell from beneath is moved for thee, to meet thee at thy coming. It stirreth up the dead from even all the chief ones of the earth, right? And there's a such thing as called reincarnation, right? And reincarnation, those old spirits from the past, they're in all these other nations, right? And at this point, people are getting tired of you, right? People are going to start realizing that, you know, their nature, so to speak, right? Ishmael's going to be a wild man once again. The Carmanians, right? The Persians, the Iran, which is Iran now, they're gonna realize, hey, at one point in time that they were part of the Medo Persian Empire. Well, they were rulers too. So now all these people got all this conquering spirit upon them again, right? Now everybody wants to be they want to be the man, so to speak, right? They're gonna remember that. But it's going to bring upon your death. You're going to bring upon the end of your society. So since you have not hated to kill the children of Israel, see, this is what the Lord is stirring up against you, right? And it says, yeah, the chief ones of the earth, it had raised up from their thrones. See, right? Because all these nations ruled at one time and they fell, and you're no different. All the kings of the earth, right? All they shall speak and say unto thee, or thus also become weak as we. So, did you not have an empire, and your empire crumbled? We had an empire, and our empire crumbled. Now you became weak as we. Hey, yeah. What goes up must come down, or thus become like unto us. Yeah, you're going to be a slave right along with the rest of the nations, right? Continue back here to Ezekiel 35 and 7. It says, thus will I make Mount Seir, which is talking about Esau, man. Esau, Edom, Mount Seir, where you lived at, Petra, right? Which all your legal buildings, your capital buildings, and all this stuff are built to look like Petra, look like Greece, and Rome, right? Which this all this is the revival of Rome, right? Even amongst the NATO, EU, and America, the Treaty of Rome, right? And that was befitting, man. You know, like the apostles showed us that, man. And you're like, aha, man. So these people, they know who they are. It makes so much. It makes all the sense in the world, you know. It says, yeah. So you're the Edomites. Most desolate. You're gonna be most desolate and cut off from it. Yeah, see, you're gonna die. Since you didn't hate blood, the grave is finna meet you. Blood is gonna pursue thee and cut off from it him that passeth out and him that returneth. Right? And hey, come on now. And I will fill his mountains, right? Your government, things that you think you're doing, your military, your so-called, hey, your ICE, right? You're putting in more money in ICE than other nations put in their military combined. And that's really ultimate to come after Jake, which shows your perpetual hatred for the Israelites. But that's going to be your downfall, and that's one way you're going to come. That's how you're going to be weak as the other nation. That's how your kingdom's going to fall. Your hatred, your such hatred for Jake is going to cause you to fall. You forget that you're supposed to go in. You might end up in a war with China, right? You're going to throw all that money in this budget to come after Jake on your own soil. But you're in beef with China. You're in beef with Russia, Iran, right? Not to mention you couldn't even beat the Afghanistans. You're in a 20-year war and nothing came about it, right? Besides maybe you stole a little bit of oil and some different things, whatever, but you didn't win the battle. You didn't win the war. So it seems that you're incapable from the Vietnam War to the Desert Storm, to any of these wars. You are incapable of winning a war. But you think if you throw a bunch of money at it, you're gonna win. But it proves, according to the Most High, you're not gonna win. Right? With his slain men, right, in the hills, right, the little smaller governments, the smaller thing that you're doing, right, your different little counties and mayors and governors and your what is that, national guards. Hey, they're gonna get, man. Things are gonna happen, man. Right? The Lord is definitely gonna lift up a standard, bro. That's what you're not considering. But that's because you're not spiritual. And in thy valleys and in all thy rivers shall they fall that are slain with the sword, man. Hey, see, you in it. You didn't hate. Hey, the sword's gonna pursue you, man. It says, and I will make the perpetual, since you have a perpetual hatred. The Lord said, I will make the perpetual desolation, right? And that's what's coming for you. Your kingdom this is really gonna be the end of your kingdom, bro. Thy cities, right? You love these cities, Chicago, New York, Boston, LA, all these places make you money. This place that's here, right? But it also goes back to your old cities, Basra, right? Ashdod, right? These cities, these things are gonna crumble. These things, because like this right now is the chief place of Edom, right? This is also spiritually known as Basra too, as well as Nineveh and Assyria, and ultimately, we know the daughter of Babylon. This place is the daughter of Babylon, right? So your cities are gonna be done. Thy cities shall not return, and ye shall know that I am Yahweh. Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai Ba'ashem Rakha HaKodash, man. You're going to know that there's a power in the midst of the children of Israel. Yeah, 2/3 got to be cut off and die, but you're going to know that there's a power in the midst of Israel, man. Yeah, so this is Isaiah chapter 34, I'm just going to read in the NLT, and it says, and when my sword, right, which is talking about the Most High Yahweh, right, because the missiles are actually the Lord's armies, right, and that's actually the Lord's sword. So, you know, you think these ICBM missiles are just something to just be played with, and, you know, hey, this is ultimately, that's the Lord's sword, right? Has finished its work in the heavens. It will fall upon Edom, right? For my sword is bathed in heaven, which is in the King James. Behold, it shall come down upon Idumea, which is basically the Greek way of saying Edom, which proved that they've added and taken from the scriptures, and that alone means you have to die. That alone means the Lord said He will add and take from your life. That alone, because the Old Testament, we know, was written in Hebrew. What is the Greek word doing in the Old Testament? So we know you added and took from the scriptures, man. That alone means you got to go. Not to mention the perpetual hatred that you have and shedding the blood of the children of Israel, right? And upon the people of my curse. See, you're really you're the people of the Lord's curse, man. Right? With leprosy. You're a clean leopard, you're a curse. Right? Not to mention, the Lord said, who can make a crooked thing straight? You're set up to be the wicked, man. The earth is given into the hands of the wicked. To judgment, saying, and you're not gonna escape judgment. The nation, right? Not talking about all nations, the nation, that one nation, which is the Edomites, the Lord have hatred, have marked, the mark of Cain. You have the mark of Canaan, right? Which is what you are, a clean leopard for destruction. See, and then it's always been set up for you to be destroyed. See, and this is one of the reasons why you have that perpetual hatred towards Jacob, man. Towards the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians that you call them, which is a covering cast, man. Right? The sword of Yahweh, Ba'asham Yahweh Shai, Ba'asham Rakha HaKodash, is filled with blood. It is made fat with fatness and with the blood of lambs, right? So 2/3 of Israelites got to die. So those are the lambs, right? And goats, right? And you Edomites, you're the goats, going back to Alexander being the goat, saying that the rough goat was going to come against the ram, which the ram was the Medo-Persian Empire, which hey, the Lord, hey, it's full circle. There's no new thing under the earth, none under the sun, right? And here you are, you're back going against the Persians all over again, but this time, this is going to be your downfall to go against the Persians this time. You're not going to win. You know what I'm saying? Because Yahweh Shai is going to come in the midst of your fighting and just destroy all of you at one time. You know? Similar to what he did in Egypt. He destroyed that military when they were going through the water to come after us. He just closed in the water. And that was the end of our problems. Right? You're going to have a great military after that. That was your best men. So, that's what the Lord says. Wake up the mighty men. Tell them to come to war. Right? Beat your plowshares into swords, and your pruning hooks into spears, so to speak. Right? Right? It's that time. So it says with filled with blood, it is made with the fatness and with the blood of lambs, right, which are the Israelites, and goats, which are you Edomites, and with the fat of the kidneys of rams, right, which are the other nations. For Yahweh have a sacrifice where in Basra. See, your chief city here, Babylon the Great, America, but then also what? Israel, right? And a great slaughter in the land of Idumea, which is Edom, right? Yeah, so this is Amos chapter 1, verse 11. I'm going to go start the NLT first. Then I might, get into the King James afterwards. But it says, this is what Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai Bahasham, Ruach HaKodash says. The people of Edom, right? You self-proclaimed so-called white man, right? Have sinned again and again. See? You're crooked, and no one can make you straight. Don't hand join your hand. The wicked will not go unpunished. You're not gonna go unpunished, man. Right? There's no changing you. Can't make you be righteous. Even if you do righteous, you do it by accident, right? And I will not let them go unpunished. See? The Lord is not going to let you go unpunished. They chase down their relatives, right? Hey, starting with the Israelites, but hey, if you think about it, you're Shemitic. You've been chasing down Ishmael. Hey, I believe even Elam is Shemitic, right? That'll be your relatives, you know what I mean? Moab, Ammon, right? You chase your relatives, man. But the main one is Jacob, right? The main relative that you hate with the passion is Jacob. You so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, which is Yasha, right? What they call Israel, right? They hate you, right? Relatives, the Israelites. See, the main one is the Israelites with swords, right? And the modern day sword is the gun, right? And back in the day, it was actually literal swords, but nowadays it's the gun. It's the modern day gun. Oh, and the pen. Their legislations, their laws, those are swords. Their medicine, the needle, those are swords, right? Showing them no mercy in their rage, right? Your rage, Esau, you're angry, you're mad at us. And you don't even know why, but you hate us with a passion. You hate us a lot. You hate the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native, and it proves it when you're putting more money in the budget for ICE, knowing you may have to go to war with Russia or China, right? North Korea, hey, joined up with Russia, bro. He sent like 50,000 troops to Russia, and then just recently he sent another 30,000 to Russia again. So you're on the world stage. This is literally the world war when other nations are getting involved and sending troops. But your thing is you want to dump more money in this ICE thing, which shows the hatred that you have for the so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native Indians, man. Right? Yeah, which the Israelites, right? With the sword, showing them no mercy in their rage, they slash them continually and were unrelenting in their anger, right? That's you. You hate us with a passion, man. Let me go to King James real quick. It says, thus saith Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahweh Shah Ba'ashem Rakak Wadash, 3 transgressions of Edom, and 4 I will not turn away the punishment, right? 1, 2, 3 strikes, you're out, right? Well, really, he said 4, right? So he gave you more than 3 strikes, technically, right? But either way it go, you're out of here. The Lord said, "Will not turn away the punishment. Therefore, Salakia, because he did pursue his brother, right, which are the Israelites, with the sword, and did cast off all pity, and his anger did tear perpetually, and kept his wrath forever." Right? You don't like us. You hate us, and you don't even know why. But it's a spiritual thing, man. Why you hate us? Yeah, you don't even know why you hate us, man. It goes all the way back here in Genesis 27:41, right? Because this is spiritual, going all the way back to your father, which is Esau. It says Jacob fled to Paddan Aram, right? And I'm gonna read the NLT first. It says from that time on, Esau hated Jacob because their father had given Jacob, right, which Jacob is synonymous with Israel, which is Yasha'Allah in the Hebrew, the Paleo Hebrew, right? Right, because we got given the blessing. And Esau, right, Esau, which is Edom, self-proclaimed so-called white man, began to scheme, right, which that's what you're doing right now. That's what Trump is doing right now. He's scheming. He's putting everything together, the Palantir, the Skynet. You're putting again all the same arsenal and data as the gospel that they're using against the Palestinians and Israel, into the infrastructure of America, right? Because you got to think, you've never seen so many construction sites ever, and people digging up holes, putting down lines, and putting in telephone stuff, and looking like computer lines, and you never seen that before. But that's what they're doing, bringing in the that thing, 6G, whatever thing that's going to allow this thing to work, right? Because of their scheming, right? And it says, I will soon be mourning my father's death. Then I will kill my brother Jacob, right? KJV says Esau hated Jacob because of the blessing, right? Hey, and that's what it is. You hate us. Technically, you don't know why, because when you speak to Edomites, so-called white people, and you ask why they hate black, they don't know why. I don't know, because he's black. Well, that's no thing. The East Indians are black, right? The people that you say that's actually Jewish, right? The Ethiopians, they're black. Why don't you hate them the way you hate us? Right? It's kind of crazy. Even though they're Hamites, you know what I'm saying? But somehow a Hamite could be Jewish, right? Which is crazy. Right? But the world believed it at one point in time, but what? The veil is coming off, man. Right? It says, wherewith his father blessed him, right? And Esau in his heart, Laab his mind, the days of mourning for my father are at hand, then will I slay my brother Jacob, right? Which is you so-called black, Hispanic, and Indians. And this is the thing that they're doing to this very day. They hate you, man. Right. So this is Obadiah chapter 1, right? And it says, reason for Edom's punishment. See, so don't get mad at us. Be mad at yourselves. Because this is the reason of your punishment. It says, because of the violence you did to your close relatives. For the violence against your brother Jacob, right? See? That's us. We're Jacob. We're supposed to be your brother. We're your relatives. But you had violence towards us. That's your own fault. That's your own fault that you hate us in such a manner, right? Shame shall cover thee, and thus shall be cut off forever. See? That's your own problem. That's your own fault. That ain't our fault. You did that, right? It says your close relatives in Israel, right? You will be filled with shame and destroyed forever, right? And that's because of you. Your perpetual hatred. You know what I'm saying? It says, when they were invaded, you stood aloof, right? Refusing to help them, right? You stood off. Yeah, let me watch. Yeah. You was enjoying it like you was watching a movie, right? It was enjoyment to you, right? Invaders carried off their wealth and cast lots, right? Put us into slavery, right? To divide up Jerusalem, but you acted like one of Israel's enemies. See? Which ultimately at this point now you are our enemy. You are our brother. And if you didn't do that, the Lord would have had a blessing for you, bro. But you're too stupid. Your own hatred, because we got the blessing and you didn't. And if you're reading like this is sometime well after the blessing. This is after we came out of Egypt, right? This is when the Babylonians were coming to grab us up. But you stood there as if you're one of those Babylonians, which at this point, you are a Babylonian. You're the daughter of Babylon, right? It says, in that day that thus stoodest on the other side, in the day that the strangers carried away captive, right? Put us in slavery. His forces and foreigners entered into the gates and cast lots, right? Put us in slavery, was selling us as slaves. On top of that, and you might have bought some of us. Who knows? Upon Jerusalem, even thus was as one of them, right? You were with it. You were with that program. And see, this is ultimately why you got to be destroyed. You should have helped. Now, you might have ended up in captivity with us, but hey, you got to go through it. You got to go through it to get the blessing. What is it for you people to say after all the times Israel went into slavery because of not keeping the commandments? And this is ultimately why the Lord jacked us up, for not keeping the commandments, worshiping other gods. We'll go into slavery, captivity, be killed, be destroyed, be whipped, maimed, castrated, all sorts of things because we didn't keep the commandments. And now all of a sudden everybody can be part of this thing. Man, are you crazy? You have to be crazy. See, if you would have helped us, yeah, you would have came in and they probably would have grabbed you up, start whipping and maiming you and killing you, and you would have been amongst us. But guess what? You would have been with us. Then the Lord would have looked and said, hey, you know what? Hey, since you didn't do that and you joined and you helped your brother, I got a blessing for you. Right? Or hey, maybe even the Lord would have integrated you into us. And then you would have got the kingdom of heaven with us. You would have got the blessing with us. See, that's why the Lord told Cain, sin lieth at the door. When you got hatred and things like that, it'll cause you to make the wrong decision, bro. The wrong decision. And that was your own decision not to help us. To be one of our own enemies, which in turn you became our enemy. It says you should not have gloated, right? Instead, you act like you were gloating as if you were the Babylonians, which you eventually, like I said, eventually you became the Babylonian. You're the daughter of Babylon. You're spiritual Babylon, right? When they exiled your relatives to distant lands, right? And that's what you did too. You took it and you gloated, and then you carried us off to distant lands, right? You should not should not have rejoiced when the people of Judah suffered such misfortune, right? You shouldn't have did that, bro. That was your own fault. Don't be mad at us. You should not have spoken. You should have not spoken aggressively in that turbulent time of trouble. Let me make sure I'm saying it. Terrible time of trouble, right? You shouldn't have did it, bro. Says, but thus shouldst not have looked on the day of thy brother in the day that he became a stranger. So yeah, now we end up becoming strangers to our own land, right? Hey, even to you, obviously. You looked at us like we was just some strange nation, as if we wasn't brothers. If you didn't come from Abraham and Isaac, right? You didn't look like you look at strange. Okay, that's cool. We're just strangers, all right. Neither should it thus have rejoiced over the children of Judah in the day of their destruction. Neither should it thus have spoken proudly, right, in the day of distress, right? Hey, and you did that. That was your own decision, right? Yeah, so basically you became the Babylonians. You're the daughter of Babylon, right? So you did end up doing the same exact things as the Babylonians. It says they threw dice to decide which of my people would be their slaves. See, that's what you did, right? On the auction blocks, they traded boy to obtain prostitutes. It's like a prostitutes, and sold girls for enough wine to get drunk. Wow. Right? It says they cast lots for my people and have given a boy for an harlot and have sold a girl for wine that they might drink or get drunk, right? Right? And you did that. It says, yea, and what have ye to do with me, O Tyre and Zidon, all the coast of Palestine? Right? Are you trying to take revenge on me? Right? Hey, that's a good question. Because ultimately, you're just trying to take a revenge on the Most High because of the decision that the Most High had made. Right? And then even these other what's it called? Cultures, nationalities. They're upset because they're not the people. Right? But the main one is you. Because it was meant to be Esau's blessing. Right? So you trying to take vengeance on the Most High. It says, will ye render me a recompense? And if ye recompense me swiftly and speedily, will I return your recompense upon your head. Right? If you are, then watch out. Oh, see? So if you are trying to take revenge over the Most High, against the Most High, hey, you better watch out, man. I will strike swiftly and pay you back for everything you have done. See? And see, don't get mad at me. Don't get mad at us. Be mad at yourself. Be mad at your forefathers. But hey, it is what it is, man. You hate us with a perpetual hatred forever. So you're still mad. You're still upset. What all them chicks be saying, especially them Judite. You big mad, huh? All right. Says you have taken my silver and gold and all my people, or all my precious treasures, Salakia, and have carried them off to pagan temples. Right? Yeah. Right? Like, well, back in the day would be D.C., Washington, D.C., over into what was it Fort Knox, but that don't got no gold in it no more, right? But just this place here, right? And gave us another a totally different Messiah, right? Totally opposite in color, opposite in mannerism, right? All that, opposite, completely opposite, man. Right? You gave us a leprous, a clean leopard who got a effeminate spirit for a Messiah, right? Instead of the raw, dark skin, woolly hair, austere Messiah, man. Because ye have taken my silver and my gold, and have carried into your temples my goodly and pleasant things, the children of Judah, the children also of Judah, and the children of Jerusalem, right? The southern kingdom, the northern kingdom, you so-called black, Hispanic, and Native Indians of Indian and Negro descent. And hey, we got them Israelite foreigners around the world, the Israelite, foreigners, basically, right? Who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel. Got you all around the world, even in America, man. Like Apostle Hart says, which makes sense, especially dealing with the rural South, the Bible thumping people who really actually believes in the Bible. A lot of them have to be Jake because it's in your spirit to believe in the Bible. Though you look like a so-called white man, you're really a Israelite, man. That's why you have that such a connection, and you have a zeal, but not according to knowledge, right? And a lot of you really ain't gonna get that knowledge because you're clinging on to that whiteness because it's been getting you by, right? You had less headaches, right? Which they show you that back in the 60s, the 50s, when a lot of the so-called Negroes, what they call Negroes at that time, which are Israelites, which are Judites, Benjamins, Levi, some of them could pass for white, and a lot of them, because they did, because it gave them an easier life. So it makes sense, right? But it's getting to, have ye sold unto the Grecians. So these Hamites, right, which is Tyre and Zidon, and the Palestine dealing with Ishmael, right, because they're the Ishmaelites now, because they would have been Hamites too. But we know that Ishmael has took over Palestine, and now those Ishmaelites are calling themselves Palestinians, which that's why they're getting destroyed right now. Because of what they did. The Lord said he would return his recompense upon your head. So now we're supposed to cry for Palestine? No, we're not crying for you. Is it blatantly an unrighteous thing the way that they're doing it? Yeah. But it's still the terror of the Lord, man. So the Lord set up this man to be the sword, right? The hammer of the earth, right? And that's what he's doing. He's doing his job. His job is to take peace from the earth, according to scriptures. And that is exactly what he's doing. So we can't cry over the Palestinians, right? Because now that's what the Lord said. Will you render me a recompense? I will return and I will pay you back. And the Lord is paying you back for all that, man. Right? And now you have sold them to the Grecians, and we know who the Grecians are. The self-proclaimed so-called white man, which they're not really the Grecians, because the real Greeks would have been the Japhetic people, which would be like the Hawaiians, the Aborigines. Those people are Japhetic people. So that's basically would have been them. But you took on their nationality, just like the Ishmaelites took on the Palestinians. So no, even though, I'm not a Palestine, I'm not a Greek, I'm not this and that. Why would the Lord do that? No, you are. Those are the names you use to conquer things and to take over or possess a land, right? So those are the names that you're going to be called by, biblically, and then you're going to get the destruction, right? Thus saith the Lord, thus saith the Holy Bible, right? Just like Russia is in that land of Magog, so they're gonna be they're the Magog, and they got to do it according to Magog, and the Lord has a controversy with Magog, right? Prophesied against Gog and Magog, Gog of Magog, right? Salakia. So it says, unto the Grecians, the self-proclaimed so-called Grecians, the self-proclaimed so-called white man, so-called Jewish, right? The self-proclaimed so-called Man, I mean, it goes on and on with his self-proclaimed, right? You know, that ye might remove them far from their borders. See, exactly what the Babylonians did, you did. So now you're the modern day Babylonian. You're the spiritual Babylonian, which is the daughter of Babylon, right? Right, to Greeks, so they could take them far from their homeland, right? And that's what you did, man. Right? Starting with 70 AD, right? That's why Jake's Israelites had to flee. And then later on, came and got us, bounced us like a ball over into to America and them cargo slave ships, right? And here we are. We're in the land of our captivity, the land of our punishment, in the land where this man hates us, and he's setting up things to hang us, to kill us, right? This is Psalms 137, Salakia, and 7, right? Just to show you, prove that's what you became. Edom became the daughter of Babylon. So Psalms 137 and 7. Oh, remember, O Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, Ba'ashem Rakakwadash, the children of Edom. Remember, O Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahweh Shai, what the Edomites did, right? You're the Edomites, right? Plural, right? That's the entire nation. You self-proclaimed so-called white people. In the day of Jerusalem, who said, race it, on the day the armies of Babylon captured Jerusalem, right? Basically they were saying, destroy it. They yelled, level it to the ground, right? Just completely wipe us out. Destroy the city, destroy the people, wipe them out. This is what you wanted. This is what you chanted for and you was hoping for, right? Race even to the foundations thereof, right? O daughter of Babylon. See, showing that you're the daughter of Babylon. You became just like the Babylonians. The Babylonians did that, but now it's you. Now it's speaking about you, Edomites, man. You self-proclaimed so-called white people. O daughter of Babylon. This one just says, O Babylon, but it should have put daughter. You will be destroyed. Happy is the one who pays you back, right? And the Lord said that he was going to pay you back, right? He was going to pay you back, right? For what you have done to us. It says, O daughter of Babylon, which that's America, right? Babylon the Great, the daughter of Babylon, who art to be destroyed, happy shall he be that rewardeth thee as thus has served us, right? You put us in slavery, hey, and you're going to go into slavery, and then you're going to be killed, beaten, maimed, and this and that and that and another, right? It's all going to happen unto you, right? It's not going to be a thing that you just get away with. You just think that you could just come in with your charagma, micro C hip everybody, and now you just ride into the sunset, man. That ain't gonna happen. That ain't what the scriptures say, right? This is the Bible is this whole thing that's going on. It's the Lord's movie, man. It's the Lord is the director. He's the true Theos, right? He's the God. He's the director, right? The creator, writer, director. He's everything. Hey, and then he even have his son appear in the movie periodically, right? Which he's about to again in the second coming of our Lord and Savior Yahweh Shai. So with all that, I want to give all praises and all honor and all glory unto Yahweh, Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, Bahasham, Rachah HaKodash. Double honor to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone who rule well and do well. To the apostles, bishops in Connecticut, the bishops, the preachers, the teachers, the evangelists, and the four winds, preaching in truth and sincerity. risking your lives more now than ever, the hopeful elect, the elect, Shalom, to the Israelite foreigners who phenotype may look like another nation, but bloodline goes back to Israel through your father and have come back to the fold. Shalom to you sisters, your Akhwathium, who listen and learn under your husband, which is your spiritual leader, with meekness and with silence, and a Baba Ball. Kwam Yasharallah.